So I wanted to take a minute to talk about what is VTX. And I'm out here enjoying a beautiful sunny day, hoping that I am not attacked by insects. So anyway, what is VTX? VTX stands for Vector 2X. Vector 2X. So, and one of our slogans within VTX is, what is your X? Because VTX is a system for personal effectiveness and personal growth. And what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about what the foundational philosophy is of VTX. So, we live in four-dimensional space-time, right? 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. And we live our lives every day from moment to moment in that 4D space. And during our lifetimes, there's things that we want to accomplish, goals that we want to achieve. We want our life to occupy a certain state. So the question becomes, how do we more effectively create the life that we want to create, live the life that we want to live? I'm of the opinion that for the most part, your circumstances form around who you are being. And if you change who you are being, then your circumstances will change in accordance with that. Why do I believe that? Because I think reality exists in 3 layers. There is the bottom layer that we live in, which is the layer of actuality. Above that is the layer of probability. And above that is the layer of possibility. And the question becomes, how do we pull down desirable possibilities to probability to actuality? VTX attempts to answer that question. As we move through life, through these layers, you have slices of 3D, 4D rather, space, time that move through this multi-layered reality. We want to understand, how do we bring down desired possibilities into actuality as we move through that multidimensional layered space? And I took a concept from physics, the concept of vectors. And vectors determine our motion through this space. There are 5 types of vectors in the VTX system. There is what I call the initial set, which we have no control over. Those are things like where you were born, who your parents are, what your race is, what your ethnicity is. All those things that are kind of like the starting characteristics of your life. You have absolutely no control over that. And then the second set of vectors are random vectors, things that you also have no control over. You might unfortunately be subject to, some sort of random health challenge. You might get into a car accident. There might be a blizzard or a snowstorm. There might be a flood. There might be some sort of geopolitical event that affects your life directly that you have no control over. So these are random things that can affect the direction of your life that you have no control over. Now, there there are three other vector categories that we have significant control over. The mental vector, which is how we perceive and act in the world. The physical vector, how we maintain our health and vitality. And the spiritual vector, how we build community and get support and feed our spirit around living our day-to-day lives and achieving our goals. So with that, I think I'm going to conclude today's session. Next, what I'm going to get into are some of the more practical aspects of the VTX system. Today was mostly about philosophy. Next, I'm going to talk about, what are the practical, tools, methods, strategies from the system that we can use to be more effective in everyday life, and how we can also use those tools, tactics, and strategies for personal development. So stay tuned for that video, and I'll see you soon.